would imagine the stadium to be overloaded and overflowing. So that's going to be exciting for sure. Excited about the opportunity we have to play these guys. I think it's a very good football team that we have coming in town. We have a very good football team. And, it's a 4-0 squad versus a 3-1 squad. And this is one of the type of games that everybody looks forward to in college football. Certainly our team does. Coach de Boer has done a great job with his program. They've got some fantastic players. I expect all of them to play. I'd be surprised if Jalen McMillan doesn't play. I would be surprised if they don't have a full set of players. And we're looking forward to that challenge for sure. It's going to be a great challenge and a great atmosphere. This is going to be Saturday night at its finest in the desert, and looking forward to seeing how well we can play against what is a top 5 football team.
Start with Justin Spears and then Dave.
What are the statuses of guys like Jayden de Laura, Michael Wiley?
De Laura and Wiley will work out on Saturday. We'll see how they look. Kind of very similar to the Joe Burrow plan, we'll call it. And we'll see what that looks like. And the most important thing that you can do as a football player is protect yourself. So if you're unable to protect yourself, then I would expect them not to play. If they're able to protect themselves, then I would expect them to play.
David and then Jay.
Jed, obviously this is why you came here. You came here to rebuild a program to this point to be able to play in a big ball game here in Tucson. So how do you aim your excitement for this?
Yeah, I think it's been a process all the way throughout. We talk about you can either try to build a team or build a program. We've worked very hard to try to build a program. We understand that we're not nearly where we want to be yet. We're still trying to continue to improve in every facet of our program. I think that recruiting is continuing to get better every year that we've been here. And if we could keep recruiting at a high level, keep getting players in here through the portal, continue to build out the infrastructure to be a great team, starting with NIL. That has to be a huge part of your infrastructure as we continue to move on and move forward. And as I look at our program and look at where we're at, this is a great opportunity for us to go out there and use Washington as a measuring stick and see where we are right now. And there's going to be some challenges, as always, when you play a great football team. But I certainly am excited about this opportunity.
So Jay and then Jason.
I've heard the term a couple times this week that they're scary good on offense. What are they best at?
Well, I mean, I think there's no question that they throw the ball beautifully. They have an outstanding passing attack. They have great wide receivers. They have an outstanding offensive line. Their quarterback is elite. That's not to say that they don't have great running backs and tight ends, but they have a great scheme. I think Coach de Boer is one of the better, if not one of the best offensive coaches in all of the country. And Coach Grubb and him together is a great combination. And they put their guys in position to make plays. They make plays. They're outstanding. They're outstanding on offense. And but we don't shy away from anybody on offense. We think we're one of the best offenses in the country. And we're right now sitting at 30th in the country. A lot of times what happened, we're 3 points below where we were last year. We had 117 points within 4 weeks last year. We have 114 points this year. But very different type of games we've played. We haven't had to outscore people. So we certainly feel like our offense can match up with anybody. But these guys are elite when it comes to how they pass the ball, how they get their guys open, how they compete for the ball in the air. And our defense is going to have a great challenge one-on-one.
Jason and then Brian.
2 questions. How do you handle the amount of practice versus playing in terms of the game? Like, do they have to practice a certain amount, or do you trust Jayden and Michael because they're older and they can practice less?
Yeah, I would say that is certainly something that we need to look at for each player independently and individually. Jayden has started 32 Pac-12 or 32 football games already in his career. Mike has started, I think, probably in that same range, I would guess. That's very different than a guy that started 4 games or 2 games or 7 games or whatever it might be. You look back historically, when Jayden played Washington 2 years ago, he was at Washington State. When he played him this past year, last year, he was here. He has experiences in what they do. Mike has experiences in what they do. So we always are cautious of that. We don't really want to set a precedent that, how much you practice will determine how much you play. He was certainly out at, on yesterday's practice. So we'll have to see what it looks like today to make some more decisions.
And then yesterday or Tuesday, Brendan Carroll mentioned, like, look, we know this isn't going to be a 10-point game. You go into a game like this saying you have to score X amount of points if we're going to win this game.
Yeah, I would say this, not really. We don't. I think if you look at games, and that I study the NFL a lot. I mean, you look at the Patriots versus the Dolphins, and it was 24-17. And then the next week, you look at the Broncos versus the Dolphins, and it was 70-20. You just don't necessarily know how a game is going to go. You have a certain plan on defense to try to contain an offense as explosive as the Miami Dolphins or the Washington Huskies. The way that will go will determine how we'll have to play the game. And we had 3 possessions on offense last weekend. We scored twice. If they have 3 possessions on offense, they can only score 3 times, and they could score twice too. So you have to look at all facets of it when you continue to try to figure out how to play a game. The other part of it that I think is really important is that when you go through these processes of trying to determine how the game's going to go, you have to look at all 3 phases. You have to look at your team's health, their team's health, your team's scheme, their team's scheme. And this is not a game that last year was 42-39 with 7 minutes left in the game. And, both teams were playing at a very high level. It could be that, or it could be different, but we're just unsure right now. They've had a lot of possessions. We haven't had the same amount of possessions. So we need to take the ball away to make sure we can get some extra points.
Brian and then Justin.
What have you seen from your defense in these first 4 games that gives you the indication that they can hang with a team as explosive as Washington? And then when it comes to the corners and the DBs, how important are they as far as sticking with someone so that it gives the rush a little bit more time to try to get to a quarterback?
So first of all, defensively, I know we let up a touchdown late against UTEP with like 2 minutes left. But we've held teams to 3 points at home 2 weeks in a row, 3, and I guess we could say 10, but in our 2 home games, they held Stanford down to 20 points, and one of which was on a interception that was called a penalty. So I don't know. I think that our defense has shown all indications that we can play at a very high level. We went to Starkville and it was 14-7 at halftime. It was 24-all at the end of the game. And 2 weeks later, they go on the road to South Carolina and it's 37-30. So we've played 4 games and we've played good defense. They played our offense every day in training camp. So I use that as a good model to see how they play. They go against T-Mac and they go against Jacob Cowing and they go against Montana and Malachi. So to answer your question, I'm very confident in our defense on the way they're playing right now, but this is certainly the biggest challenge we've had all year. When it comes to the corners, the biggest thing about pass rush is coverage, and the biggest thing about coverage is pass rush. And how they work together is what makes a great football team. Where I think that Coach DeBoer has done an amazing job, and if you look at the great teams that set up their programs a certain way, you play to get ahead. They play on offense to score points, and then they have amazing edge rushers. And when you have great edge rushers, they've now been able to pick the ball off 7 times because they're playing from the lead, and that's their mentality. For us, what we need to do is we need to get a lead, play from a lead, let Upshaw and Deuce Davis and Isaiah Ward put pressure on quarterbacks, and then have Prysock and Takario and Stukes then be able to fall into a pick or a play, etc. So it's one of those that works together. The longer the quarterback has to hold the ball, because of the coverage, the better chance of pressure. The more pressure, the better chance the ball lands in the corner's hands.
Justin and then Ari for our last one.
If Noah is the guy for Saturday, what do you like about him as a quarterback, and what do you think about this opportunity?
I have not shied away from my feelings towards Noah. I love Noah. I think Noah is and has been the ultimate professional, meaning every single day he shows up to work ready to be the next quarterback. He knows he's one play away. He's been told he's been one play away for as long as he's been here. His preparation has never changed. His film study has never changed. His note taking has never changed. And now the only difference is it's now time to go if that opportunity presents himself. And if it does, Noah will be ready. And if it doesn't, Noah will be ready to play too and or beyond. But I believe that he's played a lot of football. And this is not his first time ever going out there. This won't be his first time that he's ever had to line up under center. But it certainly is a different challenge than when you go in at the end of the game against Utah, or you go in at the end of the game against Colorado when the score was kind of out of hand, or when you go in last week's game, kind of gives you a little bit different feel. You're down 17-14. You're on the road in a game that, we were the favorites, let's call it, and he managed that well.
And lastly, for me, how effective do you think the dollar package could be in a game like this against Washington's offense?
The amount of DBs you play on the field, we'll call it as it is. This is a fantastic passing offense, right, with an amazing group of players. So you've got to be able to cover them. So whichever the plan is that Coach Nansen has to cover these guys, how many DBs we need on the field will be determined by how many receivers that they have on the field. And then on top of it, we have to be able to run with these guys. And they are a special offense. And I'm looking forward to our fans affecting the game. And they need to affect the game on every snap. They need to be loud. They need to make it hard on the offense. They need to have an incredible environment that it has to be 2 against 1 on every play.
Last question to Ari.
Arizona's had some success hosting top 10 teams here. In 2016, when UW made it to the playoff, it was an overtime win for them here in Tucson. What do you think makes it so tough, even for top teams, to play in Tucson? Yeah,
I would say this. Historically, there's been some fun games here at the Desert, that we all know about and have talked about. It's a different team. It's a different year. But what makes it special is our fans. What makes it special is our environment. What makes it special is Tucson rallies behind the football program when we get rolling. And as we talked about, and I had a chance to talk to Coach Kerr today, and when you talk about as you develop this program and you build this program, he reminded me of what it was like with Coach Olson back in the day. And as they were building the program, and this is now an opportunity for us to build the program a certain way and to get the fans to rally behind our program the same way the fans rallied behind Arizona basketball way back when in their second and third year, and the way we expect that crowd to be tonight.